A question I get asked all the time is which finance or management or business related postgraduate is best for my career. So today I thought I'd take a few minutes to go through the consultancy process I go through. Now, over the last 10 years, I've helped hundreds of students have a 92% success rate of getting into either their first or second choice business school, almost exclusively Oxbridge, LSE, LBS, Imperial, UCL, and other top schools around the world. We spend all day, every day, understanding what these universities are looking for to help guide our students to success. And the sort of conversations we have at the beginning are pick the course that's right for you. Now, this is an aspirational choice, what's good for your career, with research involved, but also a strategic choice, which are you likely to be accepted. So if we begin with finance versus management, before then moving into those other subjects, we get the crux of this. Finance is probably the most prestigious school at a business school for the recent graduate level. It is, however, a very specialist mathematical degree. If you know you want to go into finance because it has the highest paying options of all careers out there, obviously it's a fantastic choice. But if you're not so sure, it has higher grade requirements, almost always requiring a first class at those top universities. And the graduate employment statistics are very good for quant degrees, but if you're not sure that you want to stay in a mathematical heavy career, well, management becomes a very interesting option. To put some numbers on that, a finance degree has success rates ranging from about 5 to about 15%, maybe 20% acceptance if you're lucky. Management and masters typically starts around the 15% and can go up as high as 25%, even nearly 30% for pretty good schools in the mid-range, such as UCL or KCL. Management is also a more generalist degree, and whilst you might not get quite the same bang for buck salaries earnings 1 or 2 years out of your masters, interestingly, having been doing this over a decade, I've noticed that people with management degrees tend to catch up and might even take over those in those specialist finance degrees because they're able to adapt to management and seniority more easily with that wide toolkit for their learning marketing, promotion, negotiation, networking, and core management skills. So if you're not sure, management generally has higher acceptance rates, very, very nearly as good pay, and a lot of candidates enjoy the course more. So I only advise finance for those with very, very clear aspirations to go into finance, and of course that first class as well. Management will generally accept a 2-1 or a low A in most international systems. But there's a lot more to it than just finance and management. If we look at a top-ranked school such as London School of Economics, I have identified 6 different categories that we can go into. Let's look at some of those to widen this debate. Firstly, we have the combination of the two. This is usually management and strategy. At LSE, that is probably the top-ranked course to become a consultant or strategy consultant at the likes of BCG, McKinsey, and Bain. It's nearly a fast track into those fantastic courses, and it's particularly tricky to get into. So if you want to go into strategy, this is a brilliant option. Typically, the backup to that will be Imperial's Economics, Strategy, and Business, another very difficult course to get into that will really fast track you into management consultancy. So if you know you want to be a consultant, I would recommend those courses in particular. But looking at finance, we have a lot of options. For the top-rated pure finance courses, we have financial economics at Oxford and LSE's straight finance or finance and private equity. Those two are basically the same course with one elective chosen for you. Going through also Imperial has a brilliant finance course, as does Cambridge, has 3 in fact for different levels of post and pre-experience. And we have at London Business School the pre and post Masters in Financial Analysis and Masters in Finance. Loads of options for pure finance. Almost all of these will require a first class and ideally at least 2 internships or spring weeks, making them very hard to get into, with acceptance rates going down as low as 8% at the very top, almost all of which require a GMAT, apart from Imperial and UCL, which means that you need to be spending at least 12 weeks studying on that. And for something like Oxford Financial Economics, you need to be getting a 655 plus. That's the top 10% globally. I just want to make clear how difficult these finance courses are to get into, because I wouldn't want you to waste an application if you didn't have those high grades and work experiences. And we've got three options for you here, apart from, of course, going down to management. We can look at finance and accounting. Now, an alternative option to get a finance degree with much higher acceptance rates is accounting and finance. LSE and Imperial both have flagship courses here, and their acceptance rates go from 10% to nearly 25%, a huge increase in your chances of getting in. The accounting element does make it more for a future CFO or financial controller. It is quite an accounting heavy qualification, but nevertheless, you've still got that finance title in there, which is fantastic and will open many doors in the city. If we want to go more quantitative, we've got economics and finance. The flagship again is at London School of Economics. This is one of their most prestigious courses. Interestingly, we don't find ourselves recommending this course as much as the others that I'm going to mention. It's a brilliant course, but economics at the postgraduate level is more of a specialist degree for those who want to become statisticians and economists. And there's not as many economics jobs as there are consultancy and finance. So given how hard it is to get into, just 5% acceptance rate, when their accounting and finance is nearly 25% acceptance rate, we feel it's quite a big risk. You can apply to 2 courses at LSE, of course, but again, we would recommend a much safer option for that second choice. If you can do quantitative, if you do have high math scores, then you might want to consider financial maths and finance, or finance and risk courses. These courses, for those who do have very high mathematical grades, are very easy to get into because they're just assessing you on your mathematical ability. So I really recommend finance and risk for those who want to go into the city and get the highest paid jobs who enjoy maths. Also, being a mathematical degree means you're not just limited to finance, and most companies who have anything quantitative required in the role will not blink at a top-rated maths course. But what about on the other end? From management, we can move into a broad range of degrees I'd like to just briefly discuss now. Within management are many different areas. One that I'm seeing a lot of increase in recently is entrepreneurship. Cambridge here probably have the flagship course, their Masters in Studies in Entrepreneurship, an 18 or 24-month course where you're expected to actually work and start your own company whilst doing this exciting Masters. Imperial and UCL under Innovation and Management and Enterprise have fantastic courses, and LSE has a whole range, including social enterprise for those more interested in charity or the third sector. These are very specialist degrees, but again have much higher acceptance rates for those who want to go down a more entrepreneurial route. They're also open to those who are entrepreneurs, those who want to innovate within a company, and these can be a fantastic way to get these amazing university brands at a much higher acceptance rate, and they are very comfortable with the 2-1, whereas many of the other courses we've talked about today are expecting a high 2-1 or a first class. That's a GPA over 3.7, so about top 10% of applicants. So that's just a brief summary of the sorts of amazing courses that the UK has to offer in finance, management, and business subjects. If you'd like to continue discussion with one of the team in the office or someone like myself in our premium services, please do contact us. You can have a free consultation with our team to help assess your chances. If you're looking for more help, do check out our YouTube channels. We have videos on every single one of these courses that goes into great in-depth detail on how to get into that specific course. If you found this helpful, please do consider sharing with a friend, liking, and of course, commenting and subscribing. I try and get back to all of the comments that I can because we want to help you to get into your course of your dreams. Best of luck in your applications.